Alright, so this is the Viola Part 2 Sonatine by Elliot Del Borgo. We're going to break this piece also down into chunks because there is a lot going on. It might look very simplistic, but when you look at all the fine details, there is a lot more going on than meets the eye. Okay, so let's look at the first chunk. This would be, for violas anyways, from measure 1 until square 17. Other parts have different things, but really for the violas, if you look at measure 1 to square 9 and square 9 to square 17, it's the same thing repeated. Okay, so we can just think of it as one larger section. Alright, first thing I want you to notice is our dynamics. We are at fortissimo. And then right after the fortissimo marking, we have the MARC period, which is an abbreviation for marcato. Now what marcato is, it is a very heavy bow stroke. Think of it like elephant feet, okay? So you're going to be down into the string, okay? Really laying on that index finger, leaning on it the whole time while you are playing to really pull and push a good sound out of the string. You want to stop before it's crunchy, but very heavy, okay? Now the next thing that you want to notice, look at the end of measure 4. You do have a lift set there, and because we are at fortissimo and heavy, you need to make sure when you do your lift set that you really are getting all the way back to the frog. If you're not all the way back to the frog, you're not going to get that same bite to start measure 5 that you did measure 1. Okay, and it really needs to match. So make sure that your lift set goes all the way back to the frog like that. Okay? Same thing when you have your lift set at the end of 12. And when you have lift sets at the end of the piece, but we'll cover that when we get there. Okay? Also, when you are going from the D string, crossing over to the A string, and then crossing back to your D string notes, make sure that you're doing elbow action with both elbows so that your pinky stays over the string and that your wrist stays up and out, okay? This is going to ensure when we cross over from our A string notes down to our D string notes that your F sharp will be high enough. Without it, I can guarantee, and you can remember back from beginners, that your F sharp will not be in tune, okay? All right, let's try. This is 1 to 16. I know it's a long chunk, but it's repeated. It's almost like a repeat sign. So let's go from 1 until square 17, okay? Setting up the frog. Already before you start your first note, lean a little bit extra onto your index finger. Lean away from your pinky on your bow hold. And here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Frog. So that takes us to square 17. Let's look at the next chunk. This would be from 17 until about 21-ish. Let's look at that tiny 4-measure chunk there. Notice how it drops down to mezzo forte. So you want to be not so close to the bridge. That's going to take away that aggressiveness to your sound, okay? But you still want to have that nice heavy bow stroke because it hasn't told us otherwise. It hasn't told us to change it to anything yet, okay? So here's 17. More middle, not so close to the bridge, more middle for your bow placement, but still decent chordier sound. 17 to 21. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, nothing fancy there. Now, look at 21. Our next chunk is 21 to 37. Here is something completely different, okay? Look underneath your notes. See where it says C-A-N-T period. It doesn't mean you can't do it. What it means is an abbreviation for cantabile, which means singingly. Okay? Think more, instead of the aggressive marcato that we had at the beginning, think now if someone was singing your pitches like an opera singer, very flowing and legato. Okay? So keep that middle bow placement. Okay? Not over the fingerboard because it's not a piano or a pianissimo where we need that. But when you do your bow strokes now, not so heavy on your changes, more flowing like the paintbrush going back and forth with your wrist. Nice relaxed bow stroke. Okay? 21. The second half of the measure, you do have a push-push. Okay? It does not have a dot under each note. It has a dash. And what that means, if you're thinking like percentages, if you had a dot underneath a note, you'd want the note that was written to be 50% shorter. So it's like half of the note value, okay? You could even think of it like an eighth note, okay? And then the rest of that space would be silence, okay? So if I had quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? This dash that you see under your last two notes of 21 would be like 3/4, okay? Not as short as a dot, but not as smooth as if it had nothing written underneath it, okay? Which is different than, and different from, okay? I know it's kind of an odd concept, but do aim for that 3/4 of length, okay? When you have that up, at 21, okay, not, okay, that would be more like the dots, okay? So somewhere in between, and, okay? All right, you have that up again at 25, your last two notes of 25, and you'll have them also at 29 and 33, okay? Those spots, make sure you have that up, and it's more of a relaxed bow, not too short. All right, let's try this chunk. We are going to start at 21, and we're going to go until we have our rests starting at 37, all right? All right, here we go. Cantabile, singingly, not so aggressive. 1, 2, ready, go. Half note, push, push. Half note, push, push. 1, 2, 3, lift, set. Ladder crescendo, push, push. Don't forget, at the end of 28, if you haven't marked it already, on the rest, you do have a lift set. Because if you look at 29, it has that down bow marking. So in order to do a down bow, we're going to know we would have to do a lift set. Okay? So go ahead and mark that in your part if you haven't done so already. The last note, or really the rest, in 28. On that rest, you are going to do a lift set. Alright? Okay, let's go on. After the two measures rests that you have starting at 37, that's what that bolded dash with the 2 over means. That means we're going to have 2 full measures of rest. At 39, we go back to that fortissimo marcato. So a little closer with our bow to the bridge, that heavy bow weight, stopping before it gets crunchy. Heavy but not crunchy, okay? You do have half notes, pull 2, then a slur, push 2 at 41 and 42. So we have half note, push 2, half note, pull, okay? Pull 2, push 2, pull 2, push 2, okay? Make sure that you map those out and know where you're going. It's going to feel like your bow arm's doing half notes each direction, but really the second half is push 2 for those 2 notes, okay? Let's try it. This is going to be from 39, really, because we have rest in 37, until 49, okay? All right, marcato, a little closer to the bridge, heavy bow, so you might want to get your bow arm up a little bit so you can angle it down into the string. If your bow arm's really down already, it's hard to press and get a heavy bow in. Got to lift your arm up to do that, okay? Here we go, 39. 1, 2, ready, go. We have just a couple more chunks left on this one, 2 to be exact. If we look from 49 to 61, we kind of have a combination of the different elements that we've had before, okay? We have our half notes to start. We have a double stop at 53, that non-div period. It means non-divide. Don't divide it. So you're going to play that open A and the open D at the same time, okay? And just like in Star Dancer, you're going to have your bow arm high enough to get the D, and then you're going to relax your wrist so it can touch the D and the A at the same time. Okay? Make sure that you're prepared, especially since you're coming from the G. Okay? Adjust your bow arm around for each string of notes. Okay? We are going to go until 61, starting at 49 until 61. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's look at the last chunk now. It's pretty much lift, set, city. And this is still in that marcato section because they haven't told us to stop playing marcato. So again, like before, when you do those lift sets, make sure you're getting all the way back to the frog so you get that nice, clear marcato like you did from the very first note. Okay? So if I was at 61, lift, set, lift, set, lift, set, lift, set. Okay? Make sure the set is really there. That's the most important part. Okay? Setting it into the string before you pulling, so that way you aren't getting a bounce or a screech or anything else that's unpleasant. All right? Let's try the end. Starting at 61, we're going to go all the way through to the end. Every time you have a rest from 61 to the end, there is going to be a lift set. Okay? Keep that bar arm up nice and high so you're lifting up and circling around. Here's 61. 1, 2, ready, go. Lift, set, lift, set, lift, set, lift, set, lift, set, lift, set. Okay? Those last 3 notes do have accents. So just like before, ping, pong, ping. Okay? Lean on that index finger and really pull and push a nice bite to that sound. Okay? All right, like I was saying, it looks like this piece would be really, really easy if you look at it. And Del Borgo has written lots of easy pieces. However, this has a lot of extra style things going on, and that's really what's going to separate us from other performances of this piece, is bringing all those style points in that are supposed to be there. All the advanced techniques, all of the marcato, cantabile styles, that's what's going to pull it all together. So make sure that you aren't skipping any over any of those details. That's really what's going to get us a 1 versus a 2. All right? Okay, see you in class. Hope this helps.